Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Friday, August the 12th, not Friday the 13th. So, just to sort of rehash what we're talking about yesterday and moving forward on that, we were looking just with stocks, we're just looking at a 5-wave move up here, if you remember. And then we're also looking at a pullback for wave 2, so we can just sort of drill into that a little bit here. There's a few things to just talk about, and we're also talking about the Bullish Weekly Cycle as well. So we're looking at Thursday opening higher and then trading lower for the day and firming up in the afternoon. Now, it didn't really firm up in the afternoon, but it's done its sort of Thursday job, as I call it, in a bullish trend. So we should see Friday as the bullish day. And if we were looking for the safe trade to the upside, then that would be like the little A, B, and C here for this, you know. You could buy on the lows here as well. We've also got in here group 1, of course, which is 100, 200 and 300, and then we go to 5, and then we go to 8, and then we build in group 2 at 13, the 65 number, and the 72 in there. So now I'll need to color that now that I've started. So the thing is that I mean, that should just move straight up from that point now. Yeah, so that's it really. So that's what the stock market is doing. We're looking for 1 and 2 and nice third wave here, and probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I haven't pulled it apart. Doesn't really matter. It looks like 5 waves. So that's it. And what we're looking for at that point is wave 3 here should be longer than wave 1, and then wave 4 perhaps across group 2 here, and then up to the 14 as we're talking about. Once we do get up to the 14 sort of area up here, we've got 2 counts that we're working on. One of them is that it comes back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, and then continues up into wave 5, and that would tell us that we're in a bigger bullish picture at that point. The other one is that it comes down a bit deeper into wave B and then moves up in that way. So at this stage I don't know what's what, and yeah, it doesn't matter, but we should have a good finish to the week, and you know, if it closes strong on Friday, then it will follow through on the Monday, and then it starts to get weak on, you know, Tuesday morning, where you see profit taking, and then the trend resuming, and then you get Wednesday and Thursday, which could be this which I call the swing days. So yeah, so then we can probably move on back down. Another thing that I've just got to be careful about here, I mean, it has given us a classic trading levels pattern here as the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and it's come back in 3 waves and tested here. So it's really given us this particular pattern here, this one here, and moving off from that point. Now that said, yeah, it looks like we probably, the wave count is telling us we'll come back again. But what I wanted to just point out here too is that if I've got this wrong, because it's important to look at both sides, if this comes back down to here, then we'll need to call this wave 5 top in over here for that. So yeah, it's either we take that top out here, which I'm pretty comfortable about, by the by, and that's a safe trade. You could build on support here of 300 and 350. The other way to go here is 300, and then, because that's the top of group 1, isn't it? And then what's the top of what's the group 1 of 300? Well, that would be 30, wouldn't it? So getting support on top of 13,330, that would be a trigger, and then the micro level would be 33 at that point. So you could build in on that, and you know, so you don't have to wait for that. You can you know, manage your exposure by understanding the levels. But yeah, so that's it. So if it comes down here, then you know that this 1 and 2 is destroyed. So what I normally do with group 1 here is that if the number, while the market's been trading above group 1, yeah, if it comes back and finds it as the resistance, so like in this case here, it traded up above, and you see how it locked under the number 2 here? When it does that, well, then that's the point that it's telling you it's going to be, that's the balance line. It's going to be pulled back to that point at that stage when it takes that low, or a bit late here, but it takes that low out here. But you can kind of, you've got to be a bit wary about about that. And there's a number 2 that tells you that you're bearish. Anyway, that's all I need to say about the NASDAQ, and you can take that through to other stocks. So with Apple here, just keeping it simple, we could have a top in place. Otherwise, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we were looking at yesterday, I did label it 1 degree higher, and we looked at having a top in place, or this is wave 1. So once again, it'll be the same thing here as well. And yeah, so it looks pretty good at this point. You know, I haven't got the labeling straight here, but it could pull back a bit further, but I think it's a bit weird having that extra bit here. What if I, that's the 1, the 2, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So an ABC for the 4th, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So look, it probably just bounced straight off the 168 at that point. That's probably the buy at that stage. But once again, you know, just taking out these tops here. I think with Apple here, we also talked about coming back here. We talked about being long above the 66 here for that. Yeah, I think everything's pretty much okay. I mean, the other thing here, I'm just trying to work out where to put the stop, that's all. 66.50. So yeah, you still got to leave the stop under here for that. And yeah, so you build on that, and you can also build on the 172. So you also look for, I mean, because instead of, normally would go long above wave B here, and that's okay. But when you find your setup like that, you always have to gravitate to the closest largest number, and it's this one here. So then you've got to kind of figure out, well, do I get 5 waves to this point here, something like that, you know, and get some sort of classic trading levels pattern again at this point, because we'd be looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here just for the 3rd wave here, you know. Where's our 3rd wave? Up there, somewhere there. So it'll be something, you know, this one needs to be longer. It doesn't need to be longer, but if number 3 is not longer than number 1, well, then you know that 5 is going to be shorter than wave 3. So see how that plays out. But 180 is the target to the upside there. But yeah, so the other place to add really is just really on support of 170, and then we normally use group 1 to move through on. So 170, we've got 71, 72, and 73. That's all of group 1 of 70. So they're also building places as well. And what you're really looking for is you're looking for support on top of a tested support with a classic trading levels pattern on 73. And then you know that once you got tested support on 73, that means you're leaving the 170, and the market's going to be pulled up to the 175, which is the next level up here. So 175 roughly, and then 8. So 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8 at that point, and then you've got the bigger one up here, and then you've got group 2 in here, 176, 65, and so on. So all that will play in, that will all be important as well, depending on how close you get to the market. You know, everyone's a little bit different. You know, there we go. I think we're going now. That's the time to, stochastics is pulling back, wave counts in place. Yeah, good support here. So that's your saving grace. Anyway, yada yada yada. So moving on, I'll just make it quick. So I don't need to go over things. So I have reorganized Nvidia here, just the same count, just different labeling. That's all. Okay, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I'll put this as 1 or A, and 2 or B, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. So we could end here, and that might be the C wave at that point. I'm not quite sure, but either way, we're going to get a classic trading levels pattern across the 200. So the arrival, the reaction, 5 waves up, and then an ABC at that point. Now the question is that will this ABC pattern here just pull back to the 50-60% of this 5-wave structure and then go up from that point, or do we see a bigger move down at that point? So that will be in the same sort of veins. But so perhaps I should be labeling these in blue rather than green, but yeah, doesn't matter. Long trades. Amazon, we're also counting 5 waves up here with Amazon. We've also got a little ABC correction. So trading from here to the 150, that would be quite nice. It's going to, the thing is like that's going to be a 3 and that's going to be a wave 4 there, so it's going to be sideways and time consuming, and then having the 150 there as well, a big number like that, it's going to also make it very sticky as well. So trading to that number and getting out is good, even though it will come back and then go a bit higher. It will just take up a bit of time, take up a lot of time for you, and because it's such a large number here, it's not going to go too far. It's going to be shorter than this one here. So that's the money there, you know, because you've got to kind of respect your own time as well within all of this as well. You don't want to be hanging around, but a nice ABC, and we're lifting off here now. So everything's going pretty much, understanding the bullish weekly cycle is good, because when I used to day trade a lot, I'd be looking for that, and I'd be buying on Thursday. I start buying on the Thursday and building in, and just keep building in all through late Thursday, all Friday morning, all through Friday, and all through Monday, and so on. It's a great little, I called it the weekly wage. I'm unsure about this count, actually. I've got 5 waves up here, so I've just labelled it wave A here, and I might only get 3 waves up here, so I might need to drop wave A back here. But it doesn't really it's not part of this. Should be all part of the trend here, so it's kind of telling me, yeah, so I've probably got the whole count wrong, but the main point here is that it looks like we're going to be going higher. So the safe trade is above wave B here, but that means a little classic trading levels pattern sitting on over here for that, and you could probably even go here with a smaller position. You know, you don't need to shovel it all in. We've all got our favorite stocks and things, so Tesla here. Not the nicest 5-wave structure to the upside, but it's there and overlaps a little bit. So we could look at that as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up for 1, and ABC back for 2, and then pushing up. So I think it's quite a nice buy from here to, you know, close to probably 950, 980, somewhere in there. We'll keep an eye on that. These things here, they just keep, when the platform closes, they get squashed back up in there, so I always have to keep moving them back. So but that's it. We're looking for 5 waves up, and we'll see where we get there. I mean, obviously 1 is the strongest number, so it's not going to go very far, you know, past that at all. Okay, so Google, the same thing as well. So we need to look at this little wave 1 up here and back for 2, and then 3, 4, 5. So we're going to be going up to 125, 128 perhaps. It'll be a bit of a struggle for it it needs to sit on top of all of this. So when you're talking about 120 here, you got 100 major level, then 10, 20 and 30, which is group 1. And then when you're talking about 120 here, then what's group 1 of 120? That would be 123, wouldn't it? So that if I was looking to add to this position, it would be on top of 123, and then the market would move to 125. But like I said, this is not really worth trading this, because it's just a bit of a snail, really, you know. It's kind of like watching the paint dry. So we're just sort of leaving it, but just keeping an eye on it. Microsoft here, so we've got 1 and 2, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. Fourth wave's a bit short, a bit small, and I'm a bit concerned about that, and maybe I've got it wrong. I need to put it over here, but the count looks okay. It's just that wave 4 is wrong, so that, you know, it does raise a flag. But otherwise, apart from that, we'll look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. But basically, if you can get to, I don't know if I talked about going long on top of the 280 with the classic trading levels pattern or not, but it doesn't really matter at this point. That's the 300's your target, the major trading level 3. just get to that. Always just trade to the big number and get out. And you know, you don't even put the order at 300, because when you put the order, there'll be orders coming out at 298. All the orders will be building up at 298. Okay, so yeah, that's where I'm normally 298, 297. I don't normally trade to the big number unless I've sort of forgotten something. And but yeah, I always get out just before, because you don't want some massive order sort of crushing it while you just about got to the finishing line and somebody's tripped you up. Yeah, always better to be safe than sorry. So Berkshire Hathaway here, a bit of an unreadable count here, but basically one here with an ABC for 2 here, and then this pushing up. It will push, it needs to take a new high above here, so it's going to push up at 305 to 310. So I'll just put that there. I don't like going long before a big number like this, because this is the kind of stuff that happens. It all just gets squashed up. So once again, you just trade to the number, get out, and just save yourself a lot of grief. And then later on, when all this is set up over here, we'll get back in over here somewhere, you know, because you could be doing something else with your money. And that's why the trading levels are so, once the penny drops, you know, drops, information drops, knowledge drops in drops. So, but yeah. But the trouble is, you know, when you're sort of new, if you made money in this trend here, you don't want to get out, you know, or if you got out and did the right thing and got out, you'll want to sort of get back in, and you'll buy in here and you'll do things here, and then you'll lose money in it. You'll lose time, you know, where you could be somewhere else. So you've just got to, you know, find another stock that's getting set up, you know. Square, so everything's going according to plan here, which is nice, because I have struggled with this a little bit. So we can just, I'm just going to use these now, we don't need those there. So this will be 1 and 2 here, and we'll end up having, what's the daisy, that one, we want this one. We'll see how far that wave 3 goes. It'll be the arrival, the reaction, and then the first high above the level or something, you know. So once again, I've got it as wave A up here, but certainly it could also be wave 3 as well. And I kind of like the idea of wave 3, but I'm just keeping it in the background at the moment, because I mean, this looks like a third wave, you know, it looks like a big third wave. You know, it looks like a 1 and 2 here is a big base, you know, and the third wave is looking good, you know. But still, the proportions look like it's more of a bullish move. But we have to wait for the evidence, so either wave 4 or wave B. It won't matter either way. We've still got more work to do with all of this. I'll just move. Actually, I don't need those. I need more. I've got so many objects on charts that I know I'm near my max. So I might even just remove these dudes here. Okay. So that's that. And then over to the banks, which I haven't really been paying much attention to, but I have got the direction right and got it sort of roughly sort of happening. And we talked about the accumulation process across here, and now we're seeing the distribution process here. This has still got further to go up. We're going to be we're sitting on 35, the midpoint. So from 30 here to 40, the medium level. So 10, 20, 30, 50, 80, 100 are all major levels, and then medium levels are halfway between levels. So between 30 and 50 there will be 40, between 50 and 80 there will be 65 here. You might not think 65 means much, but you have a look at stocks at $65 or $6.50 and so on, or 65 cents if you're a penny stock trader. So this is all a group 2 here, so there's going to be a bit of resistance. So 36.50, 37 and 38 basically. So that's all of group 2. So you'll probably get into here somewhere, I reckon, at the end of the day. I've got this as 1 and 2 here and 3 here. So probably have to put this as 4. That's probably the 1 and the 2 here that we're being seeing on other markets. So I don't know how far we're going to go up here. Let's just see if there'll be resistance at the 36.50, but it's going to try to claw its way in there as support like it has done here. but it's not finished yet. This is some sort of third wave here. So we've got to clear 1 and 2. It's got sort of left that, you know, it's definitely, there's 2 behaviors here. This is 1 behavior. We need the 4th here to give us this other behavior, and then the other one. So we're definitely still going up here. And the same with Goldilocks here. So we've got we still just got further to go. I think we've still got further to go up here. So, but we're at the midpoint now. So if you wanted to go long, you just go long above those tops there. And the next one is group 2 here, which would be the 365, the beginning 65 number, the beginning of group 2 in here. And then the market will slow down in here. It should travel quite quickly between these numbers. I always say it travels quickly between 3 and 5 in both directions, and normally quite quickly after we've had a correction at the 5 and you've got some sort of accumulation there, it travels quite quickly between 5 and 8. But the 360, the 365, the 370 can slow it down a bit, but it's normally quite quick. So, or as a day trader, it's good to know those, because the trading between numbers, you know, I wouldn't trade between, like in here as a day trader. I mean, it's moved really nicely here and made a liar of me, but generally speaking, you can see how it sort of, when you, 1, 2 and 3 here normally get quite bumpy. They're good to build in on the long side, but coming down, it's a different story. So, but yeah, once again, anyway, there we go. So we're basically at 120 here, and we've got reasonable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here. So in a nutshell, we're going to be looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming up in here. Actually, in fact, I won't even draw that there, but what I will do is we will just look at the length of wave 1 here, and we'll use that as a bit of a guide stick here for that. So that will take us into 125 here. So we've got 110, 120 and 130. They're minor levels, and then between the minor levels we've got 1, 2, 3, 5 and 8. So one be the same here again as well. So the struggle here will be at 123. That's where the top of group 1 is, and then you probably get to the midpoint maybe at that point, and then we've got 8 after that. I won't put that in. So if I was trading up here, if I was going long here, I'd probably build in through I'd be building in now, and then on 121, and then on 122, and I'll be taking probably 60% off at 123, and then just leaving it, and then taking the rest off at 125, something like that. Alrighty, well that's that. This is just the stock 50 European index. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.